Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, where family trips to Florida can begin and end close to home. Nonstop service on Allegiant Airlines to Tampa St. Pete and Orlando Sanford from Bloomington. Close, convenient, Sierra. More at CIRA.com.
Rivian has a plan for self-driving electric vehicles not far into the future. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Thursday, November 6th. I'm Lauren Warnicki, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with a Bloomington state lawmaker's efforts to limit regulation on one of the community's biggest industries, insurance. More from WGLT's Eric Stock.
State lawmakers tried unsuccessfully during the recent veto session to regulate homeowners' insurance rates, something every other state does. Democratic State Representative Scaringe noted the community's long history with two of its area's top employers, State Farm Insurance and Country Financial, in opposing the price controls.
We have a really rich history here with State Farm, and I wanted to make sure that whatever we did wasn't going to regulate it in a way that would make it not friendly for State Farm to be viable here in Illinois.
It was State Farm's 27% rate increase for property and casualty insurance in Illinois this year that prompted Governor J.B. Pritzker to call for tougher regulations. The governor accused State Farm of making Illinois customers pay for disasters in other states, a claim State Farm denies. The state then took State Farm to court, alleging the insurer has refused to turn over policy data to regulators. Representative Chung says she's concerned all this heat on State Farm could cause them or another insurer to leave.
I have spoken with folks in the governor's office and expressed my very deep concerns.
Chung says she hasn't heard back from the governor. State Farm says in a statement the legislation would have hurt, not helped, Illinois consumers. State Farm says it supports promoting accurate pricing and reining in lawsuit abuse and strengthening homes and properties against extreme weather. For the Leadoff, I'm Eric Stock.
Here are some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. Unit 5 is alerting families to community resources, including food pantries, that are seeing increased demand during the government shutdown. Some Bloomington Normal businesses are also offering discounts to SNAP beneficiaries. The Illinois Department of Corrections held a public hearing on an emergency rule that requires the scanning of mail for those who are incarcerated. The state may make the rule permanent. According to Capital News Illinois, opponents want more data to see if the mail is being used to get contraband into prisons. And the Illinois State men's basketball team opens its season tonight. The Missouri Valley Conference preseason favorites visit Ohio University. Their home opener is Sunday. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. The head of electric vehicle maker Rivian says the future is not just EVs. The future is AI and autonomous vehicles, and it's coming sooner than you might think. WGLT's Charlie Schlenker has more.
Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe scattered enthusiastic comments about artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles throughout an hour-long third-quarter earnings call.
That is our North Star.
Scaringe says over time, the auto industry curve will bend toward electric vehicles defined by software and vehicles with high levels of autonomy or self-driving capability. A number of electric vehicle makers have done joint ventures or partnerships with robotaxi companies. Rivian hasn't, though Scaringe says the company is open to it. Other opportunities include autonomous delivery vehicles or freight trucks. Scaringe says, though, those are not the sweet spot for the marketplace.
By far and away, the largest revenue opportunity is, consumer-owned vehicles or vehicles owned by a household. That represents, well in excess of 95% of the miles driven in the United States, and that's largely true for Europe as well.
He says the size and shape of vehicles, range, and price all matter, but high levels of autonomy will drive a lot of demand.
What will unlock a lot of folks that may not have even been considering Rivian or an EV, but to say, wow, I really like this car, but I also really like the fact that it can give me my time back. It can drive places with me sitting in the car on my phone, getting my time back.
Scaringe is also pumping up Rivian's choice of mid-sized SUV as the next model, the R2, due out next year and ramping to full production by the end of 2026 at the plant in Normal. He says that mid-sized segment works well with fully electric architecture and a price point comparable to internal combustion vehicles or hybrids. Scaringe says autonomous features will be everywhere and a key part of purchasing decisions by the end of the decade, and EVs will be highly competitive. This might seem a little pie in the sky. The U.S. Energy Information Administration notes combined EV and hybrid sales were a record in the third quarter, but it's still just 21% of the total market. Scaringe, though, says the rate of adoption ties heavily to the number of highly compelling offerings, and so far there's just a single dominant brand with two offerings, Tesla and its Model Y and Model 3.
With them taking up roughly half the market, 50% market share, it's not a reflection of a healthy market. It's a reflection of a very underserved market in terms of choice and options.
He says Rivian's R2 will be very different than Tesla, even though it has the same size and similar price point. He claims there will be a lot of flex in variations that will attract people who are not necessarily looking specifically at an EV. Scaringe points out the R2 price of $45,000 is under the $50,000 median for all passenger vehicles sold in the U.S. Getting to autonomous driving by that end-of-decade prediction will not be easy. Tesla has had mixed success. Robotaxis have yet to achieve wide deployment. Autonomous delivery vehicles are as yet a dream, though several companies are working toward that goal. Over time, Scaringe says he's confident autonomous driving will grow.
First expansion of the number of roads that we have hands-free on, then overlaying that with point-to-point, address-to-address navigation, and then following that, adding in for select specific environments, hands-off and eyes-off, which is an important one, and then over time growing the number of locations.
Scaringe tells analysts Rivian is well positioned to use AI to develop autonomous software using data from its customers already driving Rivians.
With the launch of R2, our growing fleet of customer vehicles will collect real-world driving data, which will complement the data already collected by our second-generation R1 vehicles.
Over the longer term, he says what will set Rivian's autonomous capability apart is what will be an end-to-end AI-centric approach. I'm Charlie Schlenker.
You can read Charlie Schlenker's full story at WGLT.org. Before we let you go, the 8th Annual McLean County Behavioral Health Forum is today at ISU's Bone Student Center. There will be 16 sessions throughout the day covering a range of topics, including mental health strategies, well-being in older adults, and the impact of GLP-1 drugs on mental health. That's it for today. I'm Lauren Warnicki. The show was produced by Cheyenne Brown. You can subscribe to the Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.